and welcome to Aggie Knits. Thank you so much for joining me today back on my channel, Aggie Knits. This is, I believe, our 4th episode together, so thank you so much for sticking around if you are a returning visitor. And if you are a new viewer, I would like to welcome you to my channel. My name is Devin. I am a Tennessee-based knitting podcaster, knitwear designer. I semi-regularly release some free patterns and free knitting tutorials, and I love to just talk all things knitting, from yarn to patterns to the actual products. So if any of that sounds like it's of any interest to you, please like and subscribe and stick around for the rest of the video. Today I have some super exciting news, some super exciting stuff to talk about. So I'll just get into it. I have 5 finished objects, 4 of which are accessories, which is the most accessories I've ever done in a month. So I'm excited to talk about those. I have 1 upcoming free pattern release, which I will be doing a test knit call within the next month or so. It's gonna be a beginner's sweater, top down, gonna go through German short rows, picking up stitches, knitting in the round, things of that nature, and potentially a double folded collar if you are a more ambitious beginner knitter. Continuing, I have 1 upcoming pattern also, which I think will probably be released in June. It's going to be for nursing mothers. It's going to be a nursing cover. And I have also really exciting news about a yarn support sponsor for that actual product, which is just crazy to me. Then I'm going to go through some purchases versus acquisitions, what that means to me, and then what I did purchase. So very exciting episode today, and let's get into it. So firstly, I want to start off with what I am actually wearing. This is the Nocturnal jumper by the petite knitter, also now known as Saskie&Co, which is so sweetly named in honor of her little bunny Saskatchewan. I just love this pattern. This is the first color work knit that I ever did, and while I think that it was a little ambitious to do 3 colors in 1 color work for the first one, it's doable. And I definitely want to encourage you, if you're looking into doing color work, this is a great pattern to get it done. It's fun, it's exciting, and I love that the cats are the last part that you do the color work for, because it's kind of like that motivation the whole time to keep going and to push through whatever struggles you're working with the color work. This is knit up in Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino. I used pearl gray, copper, and coal to complete this whole sweater, and I used almost exactly the recommended amount of the yarn for the pearl gray, and then whatever I didn't use, I ended up using in a colorwork hat that I did, which I think that was actually also self-drafted, and that was just some Norwegian star pattern that I found on Google. So, love this sweater. Great design by Saskie&Co, who we are now going to go into the Arctic Knits book. This is the first pattern that I've knit from this book. And this is actually also the first knitting pattern book that I ever purchased, but I will talk more about this later. This pattern is called the Alpine-Paka hat. Let me pull it up in the book so you can see the intended design, how it's supposed to look. There you are. I hope that's focusing because I cannot see it. But as you can see, it has that alpaca design, then it has some leaf little motif, and then it has that traditional little Norwegian look there. I think that's a Norwegian one. Is it? If not, just correct me in the comments. I am very open to learning that. This is intended to be knit in a sport weight yarn, however, a DK weight yarn. However, the only yarn that I had for this was worsted, but I'm really happy with the little outcome that I got. I have not finished weaving in the ends, but this hat only took 2 days to do, so I'm very happy with that. Here, let me show that off for a second. We have the cute little alpaca there. Look at their little feet. So cute. Then we have, once again, that motif, and then those leaves. I love this hat so much. It is so cute. I did, like I mentioned, I took out that extra row of leaves, and I did so because I'm just not the biggest fan of the tall beanie look on myself. I love it when I'm looking through patterns. I think it looks so good on everyone else. And one of the ones that I've been wanting to try is the Manhattan hat, but I just can't because I know that I'm not gonna like how it looks on me. So this just seemed like a good fit. It is worked from the bottom up, and it has a series of decreases at the top just sewn together. So very, very basic construction, which I really appreciated because I just like a basic beanie, and this is just a great way to dress it up with some color work. Now, it would have been more fitting if I'd used an alpaca yarn for it, but I don't have an alpaca worsted, so I ended up going with this yarn called Far from Woolfolk, and this is what I have remaining, so really not a lot. I could probably do a thin color work headband with this, you know, like a little ear warmer type situation. But this yarn I had gotten for my 1-year anniversary with my husband. He took me to a yarn store, and it was just so nice to have that whole day together, pretty much just doing whatever I wanted. So we went to a coffee shop, we went to the yarn store, and he took care of the baby the whole day, which was great. Anywho, I got these 2 yarns from Woolfolk. Absolutely love them, though I don't think that I would recommend them for really anything but a hat. I mean, at least for myself, it is so soft and so warm that I think that I might just die if I wore a sweater made out of this stuff. And that may be what you're looking for. You may be looking for the world's warmest sweater. If you are, get Woolfolk Far, though it's very pricey, which is why I only made a hat out of it. But if you are not looking for that in a sweater, I think it is very suitable for hat, for little beanies, maybe some more winter accessory type garments. Let me try it on for you. Just look how cute that is. I love it. And you can see the alpacas. I think that from the front, it might look a little strange with the alpacas, but from the back, how she has it in her photographs for the design, I think it looks so great. Absolutely love it. This is the, I believe, 3rd beanie that I've made for myself, and it's the first one that I followed a pattern for, so that was very exciting for me. Whole new experience there. And while it does have a little extra room at the top, I don't think it gives that excessive dome-like structure that I've kind of been trying to avoid in hats. So I think this kind of is just, I love it. I don't know, maybe I'm just a little biased because of the effort that I put into it, but I loved it. It was such a fun knit too. It was a very captivating design, and I will say that this whole motif here, it is just the same thing over and over again, each row, like, I mean, for the whole row, you know, it's like you either do 3 of one, then 3 of them. I mean, if you've done Norwegian color work before, you know it's that type of thing. I loved it. It was a great knit, and it was one of those ones that, of course, I couldn't look away because I'm not that advanced with color work yet, but I really didn't need to think too much about it. And as I said, I did modify the chart for the alpaca. I'll show, of course I won't show the chart, but I'll show the design here and what I did differently. Take this off. Okay, so just look at the alpaca there, and it has the fully whited out portion on the back of the alpaca. I kind of avoided that, and I just modified it to include a just a more full alpaca, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much the only modifications I did. I did a modification of the alpaca color work and then redacted one portion of the leaves. Love it. Love that. Love that yarn that I chose for it. Like I said, would not use it again. It was also $23 a skein. So yeah, I would not have purchased that had, well, I wouldn't have purchased it. My husband purchased it. So that's why I have it. Love it overall though. Very happy that I decided to put that very special yarn toward this very special project. And yeah, that is the Alpaca hat by Saskie&Co. My next hat is a self-drafted all-over brioche hat. I used Spin Cycle Plump, and there is no shade color for this one because it was just a test. I'll explain more about that in a second. And the gray shade is the soft green gray from Biches and Bouches in Le Cotton and Alpaca. Now I got this yarn, can this focus please? I got this yarn on a really good sale. I think, so it's originally $10 at my local yarn store, but they had it on sale for $6 a skein. So I think I got 8 skeins of it. Yes, I got 8 skeins of it. I ended up using 5.5 of those skeins on my framed sweater by Andrea Mowry. And then oh, baby's crying. Pardon the interruption. That's just life with a baby. But like I said, this is a self-drafted all over brioche hat. Something that I loved about this, oh, I was talking about the yarn. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Something that I loved about this, how it just came together in particular, is that I did not do any decreases, and still it has that really nice rounded shape at the top. And I think that's just because of how plump the brioche stitch is, and plump because of the plump yarn that I used from SpinCycle. Like I said, this was a test colorway. I don't know if they ended up formulating like a finished version of this colorway. I don't know, but I like it. I ended up purchasing that in their second sale, and their second sale is when they have a bunch of yarns that are either test colorways or they have some chunkier bits in them or whatever. They're less than perfect ones, always the same yardage, and they sell 5 skeins altogether for $90. I had never purchased anything from SpinCycle prior to this, and their yarns go for like $32, I think, to $36 each, something like that. So I was not about to just buy one, you know, for that much money. Can't afford that, especially since I think a lot of them are 50-gram hanks, and typically I like to buy 100-gram hanks. However, you just can't, I mean, you can't get past the colorways. They're beautiful. There's a reason they're that expensive, and I'm not gonna say they're too expensive. I'm just gonna say they're not in my price range. So these are them. I love the colors that they sent. The one that I ended up using for the beanie is kind of what I think looks like an outlier to these ones. It doesn't match the vibe of these. So I decided to use it first, let inspiration take me with the rest of these. This is their newest base, and it's their plumped one, and it is a bulky weight. I just think that it is so lovely. This one is 100 yards. It's 100% American wool. I love it. Just, I mean, look at that. I think that this one, it makes me think of like pink lemonade fizz type, or like those pink and yellow starbursts. It's just so cute, very candy-like, and I just think it looks lovely. This is not my typical color that I would choose. I think of the ones that I was sent, these two are most likely things that I would typically go for, but I'm not displeased. Double negative there. I am pleased, and I just think it looks great. I ended up doing a brim, but my original intention was to just go from the cast on straight up. It just didn't look right on my head, so I ended up doing the brim. Let me show you what it looks like. I think it's so cute. And this is something that I'd definitely be willing to do a free pattern for. So if you are interested at all in creating this yourself, then let me know and I'll write up a pattern probably like this week if you want it. So comment below if you want that free all over brioche pattern. And is it brioche or is it fisherman's rib? No, this is brioche. Yes, brioche. Okay. Yeah, just let me know about that. I want to talk about this like cotton and alpaca for a second, because it is a blown yarn. So it is, let me see if I can guess this right, 66% cotton and 34% alpaca. I've used this a lot. I like it. It's one of those blown yarns that doesn't feel delicate when you use it. Now, before I used this one, the only experience that I had with a blown yarn was Drops Air, I think. Drops Air, yes, Sky is the chain net, yes, Drops Air. And I did not have a great experience with that one. Using that yarn, I did create this bottom, that little red one there. That is the Sugar Plum Jumper from Fable Knitwear. I digress. The yarn was difficult to use. I felt like it was fragile when I was knitting with it, and I kept poking through it. This yarn is not like that. This Beaches and Bouches La Cotton and Alpaca is, it feels strong, but it also feels very light and airy, which I just really appreciated in making such a dense garment like the framed sweater. That's probably one of the most, I don't know, I guess, I don't want to say frequent complaints, but most frequent comments about the sweater that I've heard is that it's just so dense. And I would probably agree with that I wish it was not as dense. I do have plans to make a DK weight version, which I think I'll wear a lot more. Anyways, the biches and bouches in this hat, I really think just lighten it up. You know, I'm already using that super dense plump yarn, and using this blown yarn to complement it, I think really worked out in my favor. I just want to hold it up there for a second because just look at that white core. That is the cotton core and the gray is the alpaca. But I think it just has this really nice, almost metallic look because it has that white core there. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. Though I may give this to my sister because the colorway is just kind of more her. But yeah, I don't think I would change anything about it, though I would. I would increase the number of stitches that I cast on from 48 to probably like 52 because I don't like how much you can see through it. That's what I would change. Yeah, very happy with that one. And on to the next. Next, I have the Blanche ear warmer, head warmer. I don't remember what she calls it, but it's Mariana Mel, and it is a free pattern. I have talked about this one before. I love this pattern. Typically, it is done with two of these in a row, except I used a worsted weight yarn as opposed to, I believe, the recommended sport weight. I don't remember. However, I did it bigger is my point. And I used Bad Sheep Yarn's worsted weight 100% superwash merino in the shade Impressions. I think this is just such a beautiful color. I also used that in my framed sweater for Andrea Mowry. And this, just look at that. That is so pretty. I have another one that I made using Madeline Tosh Pashmina in the colorway Fatal Attraction. Now this one, I did do the double cable pattern on it. And I love that one. I wear that one a lot more because this one is slightly itchy. Just, I mean, you know, this yarn has cashmere and this yarn is merino. So it makes sense that this one's slightly itchier. But I love it. Look at that color. It is so pretty. I think it's great. Yeah. Like I said, free pattern, Mariana Mel. This took me 3.5 hours to knit. I knit this in our drive to Nashville, and I love it. I ended up wearing it the whole week that we were there. It is so warm, and it's just one of those things that you can toss on as like a little I knit accessory, you know what I mean? I think this is, I don't think it looks hand knit, but it is something that you could just be like, oh yeah, I knit that, you know. I love it. I think it's great. It is a really easy to memorize repeat pattern. I think it is 4 row repeats, just all the way through. It has a garter stitch edge, so it's not gonna roll on you. And I think it is just such a lovely design. Very happy with just the overall product of this one. I don't think this is something that looks like, it doesn't look like I used scrap yarn, even though I did. This was just left over from my sweater, and I didn't really know what I was gonna do with it. And I'm not a fan of having too much scrap yarn lying around. So definitely a great stash buster, really quick project. And I also wanna mention, this actually also took me just 4 hours. So we're on a quick little accessory kick here. I've never knit so many accessories before. I don't know what it was, just kind of got into me. Look how lovely that looks together. That might be something to consider. I don't know. Thoughts, ideas are coming to me. So I should probably just move on and keep talking about the knitting projects. Blanche ear warmer headband, and that it is that. We have my final FO. This is the Norma Jean turtleneck by Fable Knitwear. Just look at that. I love it. I think it's beautiful. I knit this up using Kelborn Woolen Scout in the colorway Mulberry Heather. It's 100% wool, it is a DK weight, and it comes in hanks of 274 yards per skein. I think I used two. I used two for this sweater, and I have this left over, but this is from a third, which I'll get into that in a second. I originally made this one with sleeves, and when I did, I used US size 5 needles instead of US size 7 needles because I didn't know anything about gauge, and this was my second project, my second sweater project. So I was like, yeah, 5 and 7, they're close enough numbers. It won't make a difference. It made a difference. I had to redo it. In the process of doing so, I just think that I thought that it would look better on me as a short sleeve. So this is the remainder of the sleeves. And that was my third skein that I purchased. This version uses 2. And I'll show you what it looks like. All right, here it is in all her glory. Though I need an undershirt underneath, but I have not woven in the ends yet. Like I said, I just finished it. It is fresh off the blocking mats as of this morning. And I love it. Look at that shoulder construction. It is just so lovely. Now, if you are going to knit this pattern, I cannot emphasize enough following Fable Knitwear's or Helene's exact instructions for the shoulders. Oh my goodness, I did not my first time, and I completely overestimated how long I wanted my shoulders to be. Don't do that. Follow her instructions. She is correct. She is smart. She designed it. She knows what she's talking about. So I followed it on the second time. I am so happy with it. I can picture this just being perfect with like a short or long black skirt. I'd probably wear it with this long black skirt that I have, and I have these Doc Marten boots with roses on it. I think that would look really pretty. And I also, when I go to church, I wear a veil, and I have this really pretty black lace veil with gold details on it. I think I'd probably wear that with this too. It would look so cool. So cool. I love it. This sweater, it just feels polished. Like this neckline, it is a double folded ribbed collar. I love that. The 2x2 is not something that I'm always the biggest fan of. I really like the look of a 1x1 or even like a 7x1, something like that. I think looks great, but it works for this. Now for the modification for the sleeve, all I did was cuff it before I did any decreases. I just followed the instructions for that, and then I ended up doing 4 rows of 2x2 ribbing, and I did do a standard bind off because I wanted to preserve the tightness of the ribbing. I think it is great. Let me show you the length, exposing that I'm wearing sweatpants, but the length blocked out to be perfect. Prior to blocking, it was, I think saying above my belly button is correct. I was gonna say at my belly button, but that's a little generous. It was above my belly button, and now it is about an inch below my belly button, and I didn't even really need to pull it too much to get there. That was an intended outcome, by the way. It doesn't just stretch against your will. I would say overall, this project, it just made me happy to go from doing this as a beginner and not really knowing what I was doing, making so many mistakes, to doing this one. And from what I can tell, I think that I did not make a mistake throughout it. Very exciting. I ended up knitting most of the body of this while I was watching this new show on HGTV. Oh my gosh, it's so silly. It's called The Flip Off, and it's between Tarek and Christina. They used to have this show called Flip or Flop together, but now they're like in a competition. I was hooked, honestly. I did, I think, half the body while watching that episode. It was a fun night. And this was just such an enjoyable knit. Just flew right off the needles. I actually finished this project in 5 days from top to bottom. I don't know how my hands did not ache afterward, but I'm just very happy with it. I think it looks really nice with the necklace coming down there. But yeah, if you want a quick project that is going to have a lot of that instant gratification factor, this is it. It is so nice to see as the yoke is developing, then it goes into the sleeves and you get that puff formation. It is so fun. And this is actually also the project where I learned how to do increases in a way where it ends up looking like a faux seam, which I think is so fun. Now in the pattern, Helene does not include what type of increases to do, so that is wholly up to you. I ended up doing, make one left, make one right, but going in the opposite direction to give that seam look. So yeah, I'm very happy with it. I received this pattern for as a gift for doing a test knit for her last year for the Junior Best of Our cardigan, which very excitingly is actually going to be released tonight, which I think will be yesterday by the time I post this, but it is a lovely little knit for a little kid. I think it's from ages 0 to 3 months to age 12 maybe, but I test knit the 0 to 3 version. It is so freaking cute. You gotta check it out, even if you don't have a young person surrounding you to knit it for. It is so adorable. Check that out. And while you're there, just check out her page. She has the most romantic knits. I love them, and I'm so excited to knit another one. So once again, the Norma Jean Turtleneck by Fable Knitwear. Next, we are going to talk about the free sweater pattern that I am working on right now. This is what I got so far. We got that double folded collar. It is a top-down construction with these seams right there. So you're gonna pick up stitches as you go down on either side. There's going to be optional German short row shaping. And this is knit up using Drops Sky in the colorway Hot Chocolate or Hot Cocoa. I forgot, I hope it's Hot Cocoa because that's so much cuter in my opinion. I don't know. We got these nice big armholes because we are going for, I don't want to say an oversized fit, but it's just not going to be form-fitting, for the recommended ease. This so far, I think this was about 3 to 4 days of knitting for this total, body section. I like to start on the sleeves first sometimes though, because I have a problem where I just get stuck on sleeve island, and then I also end up making my sleeves too short. And this one, my sleeves were originally too short, but it blocked well. So I'm gonna start with the sleeves on this one. We'll see how that works for me. But yeah, this pattern is going to be offered from size extra small to 5X. So if I don't find enough test knitters for some of those sizes in between, like if I don't find an extra small, if I don't find a 3X, whatever, then I'm just going to have to put the graded options in there. So please share with your friends, find me some good test knitters because I want to make this accessible to anyone who wants to learn how to knit. It's going to be very beginner friendly, and I think it's just going to be a good way to get some beginner knitters into learning some techniques that will really make them fall in love with their finished products. I know that when I started knitting, I had several projects where I was just with the outcome, and I was kind of upset that I had put that much work in and really just didn't get much return on the investment of self that I had put into the garment. So I want to make this something that people are proud to wear and proud to say that it came off their beginner needles. So yeah, it's gonna be coming out within, I think I said test knit call will be within the next month. Yes. So I gotta get going on this. This is a WIP that I need to put some extra love into. That is going to be a Ravelry pattern, which will be free in its written form. I think I may offer like a $2 version if anyone wants to contribute and buy that, but it will be available for free. And like I said, we'll have that beginner YouTube tutorial as well. It's going to be a little series. I think I'm going to have the complete video, and then I'm going to offer videos for each section. I'm super excited for that. I've never released a knitting pattern tutorial before, so that's just going to be super exciting. And yeah, I mean, if that is something that you're interested in following and just waiting for, definitely subscribe and turn on notifications so that you can know when it's actually being released. And I'm also going to be posting about it on my Instagram, so you can follow me there too. Just keep up with it. Anywho, I don't know. Oh yeah, I'm going to be calling it the Easy Peasy Pullover, and I think that's super cute. I just think it's going to be you know, just real like, ooh, easy peasy pullover. It's gonna be true to the name. That's what we're going for. So if you have any ideas, actually, I would really appreciate ideas on if I should do just a standard bind off, or if I should introduce people to a more complex one, or do you think that might be too much for the first project, first sweater? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know what you wanted in a pattern when you were a beginner. I want to make this just exciting for people. You know, knitting is one of those things that now that I've started, I don't know if I can just picture my life without knitting throughout it anymore. So I want other people to be able to feel that same joy. Let me know, drop it down below, and let's move on. For my final for my final WIP, I have these little socks that I'm working on. And these are just vanilla socks. I'm gonna let me actually see, because I think I have it right on my computer here. Yes, these are the A1 socks by Stepanka. There's no vowel in the beginning of the last name, so I'm not gonna pronounce it correctly. So I'm just gonna use her Instagram name. It is Super Stepanka. Okay, here we go. These socks are knit on size 1 needles, and I'm so excited for this. I actually ended up receiving this yarn, I don't want to say as a gift, but kind of as a trade. My local yarn store, which I love, was doing a Christmas party, and there was just a skein exchange, skein swap, I think. Yes, skein swap is what they called it. I brought in this really pretty, I think it was like Andy's worsted or something, but it was this really nice green mulberry silk blend yarn. And someone else had brought these two skeins in, and they were from a Downton Abbey collection from Lola Did It. I'm very excited for it. I used to watch Downton Abbey with my Oma, so it was just such a cute little reminder of that. And I figured may as well do it as my first US 1 size sock project. I typically do US 2 size, but I feel it's just too airy of a knit for me. So going to US 1 has definitely already changed my love for these socks. I love it. I think it looks so much better now. I am using, this yarn that I'm using is 85% superwash merino and then 15% nylon. I love it. This color is so pretty, and even this this contrast color has some really pretty little speckles in there. Do you see that? Yeah, I think it's focused there. It is such a lovely deep pink color, and then it has some little purple splotches. I think it is such a beautiful complement to this really speckled base yarn. And just look how pretty that is. I think that looks so lovely. I'm sorry it keeps focusing over there. That is my first aid kit poster. First aid kit's awesome. Love them, by the way. These socks. I'm really excited to have a finished product work. Oh my word. I'm excited to finish these socks is what I am trying to say. I'm excited to finish them and to finally have a pair of socks that I've knit that I enjoy wearing. The other ones that I've knit, I feel like I can feel the stitches on my foot, and I think that's a product of them being too widely knit. And that's my fault. Everyone else gets away with knitting the size 2 socks, so I know that that's something wrong with my tension. We're remedying it. And I'm just excited to finish these up, have that nice pair of little house socks, you know, be like, oh yeah, you know, I'm just watching Gilmore Girls with my coffee and hand knit socks, you know. I don't know. Do you guys like that? Like when you set up like a whole little movie night for yourself or something, and you're just wearing your hand knits. Is that something only I do? I don't know. I like to feel extra cozy, and the way I feel extra cozy is by wearing the stuff that I've already made. Let me know if you relate to that, and if you also like Gilmore Girls. But these socks, I'm excited to finish them. Once again, A1 socks by Super Stepanka, and I think I'm probably gonna finish them within the next couple of weeks, but I don't know what new projects I'll take on along the way. typically I'm a very monogamous knitter, but since I started this channel, I kind of just wanted to, I guess okay, let me explain. I wanted to push out a lot of knitting products at the same time. And I want to say that I'm very happy that I am doing so. I know that that can be a tricky mindset for some people, but for me, I like having a lot of things going on at the same time, and I had never combined that multitasking mentality with knitting before, and I love it because it keeps every project fresh for me. And I'm very happy that was the outcome of testing this new mindset. But yeah, let's get on with the acquisitions purchases. So first I want to talk about the reason why on my channel we're just going to be calling them purchases as opposed to acquisitions, and it's because in my opinion acquisition has such a romantic air to it as opposed to purchase, which does in my opinion bring it back to the fact that you are spending money, you are consuming, you are taking a material product into your possession and receiving more. You are amassing more things. And I really just want to keep that mentality in my knitting, because I think that when I see videos of a lot of other knitters who are buying a lot of yarn that they can afford, I can't afford. That's why I'm doing this. That they can afford, and they can afford to support always hand dyeing companies. You know, I love that kind of thing. I need to take a step back and remember, not only can I not afford to maintain that type of, I guess, just consumption, I also don't really want to based on the amount of projects that I'm finishing. I always want to have in my stash just, you know, whatever scrap yarn I have from other projects, but probably enough to do like 3 or 4 projects. I don't want to have more than that, because I do think that I would get overwhelmed just having that many options. And I think that being overwhelmed would just push me to consume more, honestly. I want to keep in my mind that purchases are purchases. You know, it's not just gaining new fun things, it is buying something. And so I purchased this knitting pattern book, Arctic Knits. This is from Saskie&Co, though I do believe it still says the petite knitter in this book. It was a very recent name change, so that makes sense. But I love this book. I purchased this pattern book on the Lunar New Year sale from Saskie&Co, and I think I got it for 25% off. I purchased it for, I think, $24.99 or $29.99. Anyhow, it is 15 patterns. It has, let's see, how many of each are in this thing? It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different sweater patterns. 1, 2, 3 hat patterns. 1, 2, 3 mittens patterns. And 1, 2, 3 sock patterns. So it has a very nice variety. I've always loved Saskie&Co's just Arctic inspiration. I think it's so beautiful. Let me show you, like, just look how lovely that is right there. And I'm not showing any patterns, I'm just showing the cover pages, which she also has on her Ravelry. In this book, there's also just this stunning photography. It really just sets the mood, in my opinion, for making warm, cozy, and color work oriented knits. That's the book, I think I said already, it's the book I got the Alpine Paca pattern from. I think that it is such a good investment. I really recommend getting this pattern book, and a lot of the patterns as well are unisex. I actually think all of the patterns are unisex. Yeah, so yeah, get this pattern book. I love it. Saskie&Co has been one of my favorite knitwear designers since I started knitting. This is actually one of the sweaters that inspired me to start knitting, because I started out crocheting and then I felt really drawn to color work, and I wasn't getting my desired outcomes using color work in crochet. So started knitting. This pattern here, this one is my Woolfolk sweater, also by Saskie&Co. And then another finished object that I can't reveal yet because it's a secret test knit is also by Saskie&Co. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 things from her now. I love them. The patterns are so easy to follow. It's just every color work pattern I've done from her is just captivating. You just want to keep working on it. So that is purchase number 1. Purchase number 2 has not yet arrived. It was an eBay purchase from, what was it? Little Wolf Knits. And it is her hand-dyed yarn. And the colorway that I got was Devil's Food. And I believe I got the DK version. It was 6 skeins that I ended up getting for $80, which is pretty crazy. Like, I don't know. I saw that deal and I bought it. I did. I normally don't buy sweater quantities of hand-dyed yarn simply because I can't really afford it. But that was just like, that was a good deal. A good deal. So I snatched that one up and I will show that one probably in a couple weeks when I do a little mid-February update, but that was a very exciting one for me. And since we're talking about yarn purchases, this one is a true acquisition. I did not purchase this. It was gifted to me for a test, no, not a test knit, for my own pattern design that I'm working on. I am working on a nursing cover, and it's going to be a button-up on the side nursing cover. It is sponsored by Madeline Tosh, and just look at that beautiful color. Get my head out of there. It is so pretty. I am using their newest type of yarn, their newest base, and it is Tosh Pebble. This is a fingering weight yarn, and it is 224 yards per hank, 48% silk, 36% fine merino, and 16% cashmere. So it's going to be soft, and it is going to be super drapey. I am pairing it with Madeline Tosh Silk Cloud, which used to be the Shibui Silk Cloud, and they're kind of carrying on their legacy. It is 60% mohair and 40% silk. Each of these is in the colorway Pecan Hole. I'm so excited to get this done. When I was knitting while I was pregnant, something that I noticed was that there was such a lack of patterns dedicated to mothers. And I think that makes sense, you know, because typically people are just knitting for the lifestyle that they're going to be in for the majority of their life. And for many people, that is not nursing, you know? So I was underwhelmed. I was not disappointed because I didn't expect there to be any patterns for that sort of thing, but I decided may as well, because that is such a delicate time in the mental being of a mother, is to be nursing, and it's way more difficult than people tell you. A lot of people just tell you it comes naturally. It does not. So I decided to come up with a pattern that is just focused on that experience. Now, it can definitely be worn by anyone who is doing anything. It does not need to be someone who is nursing. It's going to be kind of an oversized slouchy shirt, and it's going to have buttons up the side that you can unbutton, you know, to bring baby to eat. And I'm excited to get that going. If that is also something you're interested in hearing updates on, let me know. This is going to be my 3rd time designing a garment to knit. So yeah, I'm surprised that for my third design, Madeline Tosh is giving me yarn for it. That's just crazy to me. Knitting is such a wild experience. It is a very small community where you just have the ability to reach out to huge companies and just be like, hey, I have an idea. And sometimes they're like, yeah, we want in on that idea. And sometimes they're like, maybe next time. But it's just one of the beauties of this knitting community is the collaborations that we can come up with. So yeah, that is for my nursing cover from Madeline Tosh. Super excited about that. that is it for my January roundup. I really appreciate you watching this video. If you've made it to the end and you enjoyed your time here, thank you so much for spending however long this video was with me. I really appreciate it, and I would love if you would subscribe and join my little knitting community here. Let me know what you are going to be working on in February so I can steal some inspiration from you and maybe include that in my February knits. Once again, thank you for joining me. I hope that you guys have a blessed week full of lovely knitting and wonderful days. I'll see you next time.